Sabrina Imbler is one of my favorite people to talk to because the way that they see the world is just so different and refreshing, and they always prompt me to think about things differently, especially in the natural world. So when I asked them if there was anything they wanted to try for an episode of Try Hard, and they were like, I want to learn to collect and pin bugs, I was like, tell me more? Welcome back to Try Hard. On every episode of this show, we are talking to somebody who is doing something they never thought they could do. I'm Alex Sujong Laughlin, and this week's guest is trying to conquer a fear.
My name is Sabrina Imbler, and I am a Try Hard.
Sabrina is a staff writer and co-owner at Defector Media, where I also am a co-owner. And they're also the author of the essay collection How Far the Light Reaches, A Life in 10 Sea Creatures. Part of Sabrina's whole project is learning to validate and appreciate the lives of uncharismatic microfauna. We'll get into what that means in the conversation. Problem is, they, like many of us, are afraid of bugs. We don't like bugs. They're scary, they're ugly, they're creepy crawly. One of the best ways to learn to appreciate bugs is to collect them and pin them. You handle them up close, you study them, you learn not to be afraid of them, you even come to appreciate them. But in order to do that, you also have to kill them. And this is the tension Sabrina is finding themselves in going into this challenge. Okay, so tell me, what did you want to learn how to do?
I wanted to try collecting bugs and pinning bugs.
Wow, why?
Amazing question. No one does this. I have had a lifelong fear of bugs, like many people. And when I say bugs, I'm, I guess, speaking very colloquially, like anything that is spineless and has many legs and is in my apartment or outside is very small. Like, that's to me a bug. Like spiders, in my mind, that's bugs.
Yes.
And I think that's fine. It's totally fine to have a fear of bugs, but my job is to write about animals. And I feel like I've always taken a lot of pride in the fact that I write about uncharismatic animals. So like strange worms at the bottom of the ocean, or, a horrible looking toad. And especially with ocean animals, it's like they can have so many teeth, they can have no face, they can be horribly parasitic in like a way that they're living inside the cloaca of a Greenland shark, right? And I'm like, amazing, love that. But then when I look at a bug, I'm like, ooh. And I feel like that's always been a cognitive dissonance in my mind of like, why do these creatures that really pose no harm to me and also I interact with in like an everyday basis, like why am I so afraid of them when I really have no reason to be?
Okay, I want to talk about your interest in uncharismatic creatures, because I think this is something that like really defines like a lot of your point of view generally. Can you talk more about like being a person who is into uncharismatic creatures? What does that mean?
Yeah, so in the sphere of people who write about animals, there are charismatic animals, right? So like whales, horses, pandas, everyone always is talking about pandas, right?
Like they have a friendly looking face, like you can make a stuffed animal out of them.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's not even like a friendly looking face. It's like they have a face, Lots of animals don't have faces, but they matter too. And I feel like my ethos has always been, I feel like writing about uncharismatic animals is like standing up for the little guys, like the little guys who are never going to get a National Geographic feature back when National Geographic features still existed. They're never going to be the star of a documentary. Like no one's ever going to be like, wow, we're going to devote 60 minutes of an episode to this specific parasitic copepod that lives on the eyeballs of a shark, right? Like,
yes,
they're going to talk about the shark. But the little parasitic copepod, it's like, that's fascinating that you spend your whole life on an eyeball. Like, I want to learn more. So I feel like, while I feel like I'm coming from two places. One is no one is writing about these creatures, which are in many cases like the vast majority of life on Earth, at least in terms of numbers. Like the smaller you are, the more of you can exist. Whereas it's like, there's only so many polar bears. But then I think I'm also just coming at these uncharismatic animals from a point of curiosity. Like they often just live the strangest kind of lives that are so different from ours because of, the biome that they live in or the adaptations that they have. And I'm fascinated when something that is living on the same planet as me has such a wildly different experience, and I want to know more about it.
I feel like I really admire your love of uncharismatic creatures, and I think that the way you talk about them has encouraged me to think a little more critically about how I engage with the natural world. And it feels like this really radical act of empathy that like is political as much as it is just, you being a living creature also on this earth.
That's very kind to hear. That makes me really happy. And I really believe that empathy is like, it's a muscle and it's one that you can train. And I think this feels like a very sweeping statement, but I think it's easier to care about more things when you practice the act of caring. And I think like just being attentive to the lives around you, whether that's like your neighbors who are human or your neighbors who have many legs and maybe you want to stomp, like I think thinking about what everyone needs to live just makes you a better neighbor. And I guess a lot of this bug project started for me with a house centipede. Do you know what a house centipede is?
Oh, I sure do. I sure do.
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't, they're like the creatures that look like two false eyelashes stuck together that will just be sort of on your ceiling.
Yeah, they're
for
horrific.
No reason.
Oh my God.
In the middle of the night. And that to me was always like my third rail of like, I will never find that bug redeemable, attractive, acceptable in any way. And I basically sort of gave myself this personal project of like, if I care about uncharismatic creatures, I should find a way into caring about house centipedes. And I kind of did like exposure therapy. Like I looked at macroscopic photos of them. So like of their faces, that really helped. Like as someone with a face, I was like, this too has a face. And it's pretty cute if you like see the eyes. I was able to get to that place, but not everyone can. And I think that was a really interesting emotional exercise for me, and one that sort of got me thinking like, maybe I want to spend a chunk of my future really thinking about bugs, trying to get closer to them, both like in real life and intellectually. And so now I'm writing a book about bugs, and I think exploring some of those ideas right around like, these are a group of animals that we almost universally fear or find disgusting. And so what can we learn when we try to cross that gap? And how does the way that we think about bugs also inform the way that we think about people that we fear or find disgusting? Which, like, as a member of the transgender population, I think about a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm still writing it. But I think I've just been trying to like immerse myself in bugs, which has been really scary.
Oh my gosh. The fact that I am recoiling in a physical way, even hearing you talking about looking at the face of a house centipede, feels like an indicator to me that like maybe there's room for me to also challenge how I feel about these uncharismatic microfauna. So let's talk about the thing you wanted to learn, which is catching and pinning bugs.
Yes.
What is that?
So the practice, I think, is called collecting. And collecting is a very old practice. It was very big in the Victorian era when a lot of scientists or like bug enthusiasts would go out into the field, the cave, the meadow, whatever, with nets, with little, I guess I'm like, how else did they collect bugs? Maybe with their fingers. Let's go with nets.
Yeah.
And they would just catch a bunch of bugs in their net, let the bugs die in some capacity, and then they would pin them for scientific research, because once you have a dead bug, you want to make sure that all of its like characteristics are displayed. And so that is what pinning is. But it was, I guess I got interested in collecting in part because of Animal Crossing, because it's so fun.
Oh, yeah.
to run around and catch things with your net. But as a part of research for this book I'm working on, I've been spending a lot of time with researchers in the lab of Jessica Ware, who is a dragonfly researcher at the American Museum of Natural History. And I went on a collecting trip with them. And the way it was like watching grown adults run around a field with nets, I was like, I want that joy. Like, I want that unbridled sense of freedom. It felt so fun. And I collected one bug kind of where I like used my net and caught something, but I didn't touch it. And like they put it in an envelope for me. And then I was kind of horrified. And I was like, what if I can get to a place where I'm catching a bug, I'm processing it on my own. Like I'm touching it while it's alive, I'm touching it while it's dead. And then I pin it as sort of this like, this record of like, I was there in that field, I got that bug, and now it's here with me in my home.
Oh, wow. What are the things that were holding you back from trying this?
I think the biggest one was fear, because I have never really touched a living bug before. And I just, I don't want to touch them. I don't want to touch them. I don't want them like running around me. And then I think my other big fear was I feel really bad killing something that doesn't need to die, right? And this is kind of an impossible ethical question, because what does it even mean for something to need to die, right? Like, if I see a cockroach in my apartment, of course I'm killing it. It shouldn't be here while I'm here, because that is the law that I've made up, right? And like, I don't want an infestation. I don't want their droppings. But if I'm collecting a bug for my own personal collection, like I'm not a scientist. This bug is not really going to be helpful to any researcher at any point. It's just kind of like I'm collecting it as a hobby. Like, I think it felt like, is my hobby worth the taking of another life? Which is not something that I think I've really been, I still don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, it's kind of like hunting.
It is absolutely like hunting.
It is hunting.
It is, but like we just don't consider the lives of bugs to be worth anything.
Yeah.
And so no one's protesting. Or, I mean, some people on Reddit are protesting. Like, there are not the same kind of ethical conversations around collecting insects.
Yeah. And you're in this really tricky position where part of your project is encouraging people to elevate the way they think of bugs or little creatures that are uncharismatic to the same level of life as a lion or, I don't know, a deer, whatever
Great
people
animals.
hunt. Yes. And part of how you're doing that is you're learning to not be afraid of them. You are admiring them. You're studying them. And to do that, you have to kill them.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a mind fuck. Like, I understand emotionally that I feel like my ultimate goal is familiarization, like to become more familiar with the bug. And it is in some ways easier to do that when the bug is dead, because then it's not going to crawl over my arm with its many little legs or, do something in a way that startles me and then I'm scared of it. Like, you really obviously have the ultimate control over a bug if you are alive and it is dead. And there's this argument that's made about, collecting. It helps build appreciation for insects. It helps people understand their beauty, right? Which, I mean, of course, depends on the insects that you're collecting. Like, if I were to collect roaches and pin them, I don't think anyone would be like, and I appreciate roaches more, having seen your box of roaches. But I think I felt like this is just one of the big practices around bugs that hobbyists do, that scientists do. And it felt like something that I was interested in trying and seeing, like, would my opinion of bugs change when I tried to collect and pin them?
So tell me about your challenge. What did you do?
So my challenge to myself is I said that I would go out with my net and collect dragonflies.
Wow, just like Animal Crossing, for real.
Exactly. Except I was so sweaty. You don't see that on Animal Crossing, but my goal was to collect dragonflies and then pin the dragonflies that I collected. But something that I didn't realize is like when I was out there in the field, like there are so many bugs that I didn't want to collect that I was being traumatized by while I was out in the field. Like I was in the Adirondacks, which is such a beautiful place, but I didn't realize that there are black flies, which bite you, and then deer flies, which also bite you. I think I didn't realize that when you go out to collect a bug, like every other bug is also present.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. It's not like they're just sort of sitting there waiting for you.
Exactly. And for some of those bugs, I am the prey. So it did give me sort of like a fire.
Yeah. Real circle of life hours here.
Exactly.
Did you have a coach of some sort? Did you have somebody helping you?
Not for the collecting part.
Okay.
I had gone out with the entomologists with Jessica Ware and watched them run around in the field with their nets and had received some light coaching from some of the students about collecting. But it really kind of goes down to you have a net and then you chase the bug.
Yeah. How hard can it be?
I mean, it can be hard. Like bugs are really fast. And the reason I chose dragonflies is because I brought my net. I went out there to this beautiful field right by this lake, and I could catch a butterfly like so easily because they're not very fast. And it just felt unfair in a way where I was like, I feel like, you know, I'm this lion that's been put inside of a killing arena with like an overweight house cat. Like it just didn't really feel fair. But dragonflies are really, really fast, and they can tell when you're hunting them, and then they'll like fly away and you have to wait until they like return. So I was like, this feels like a worthy opponent. And I think in my sort of mental ethical calculations that I was doing, I was like, this feels right in a way.
So tell me about the process of trying to catch this dragonfly.
Well, I was in the Adirondacks for a month. And I had told everyone that I was with that I was going to collect bugs. And then every week they were like, oh, have you like collected any bugs yet? And I'd be like, no, I'm like waiting. And I think I didn't realize that I was really nervous to do it. And I waited until like the very last week. And like the first couple of days were rainy. And I was like, oh my God. And when it's rainy, the bugs really aren't as out. I didn't text you any of these updates, but I was like, oh my God, what if I come back and I haven't caught a single bug? And I was there for a month and I had so many opportunities. And then I'll have to like go to Prospect Park and catch some like horrible invasive insect. But there was finally a day where it was sunny and I suited up. I wore my sun hat. I wore my moisture wicking athleisure.
Oh, wow.
I covered myself in bug spray, like absolutely obliterated myself. I was like glistening, like in George of the Jungle when he's just kind of like oiled up. Mm-hmm. Like I was that, but it wasn't sexy. Yeah, and it smelled like death. And then I got my net, which my net it's very cool. It's like a telescopic net. So if you imagine, right, like a bug net, it's like a stick with that net on top of it. But mine, you can extend the handle, so it's like 3 feet long.
Okay.
So it's a big net. And I was like, I was walking through the reeds with my net, and there were some other folks who I was with in the Adirondacks, like sitting on the porch, like watching. I was like, I feel so silly. I feel so silly, but I have to do this. And I imagined walking in the meadows because it felt very like beautiful, but there weren't that many dragonflies there. Dragonflies, they spend the first part of their life in the water, and they like, when you see them fucking, it's like always over the water frequently.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah, they're always getting it on, and I respect that. And I also told myself I wouldn't capture dragonflies that were actively in coitus. I would only capture them solo.
You live by a firm code.
Yes, and I do not stray from it. And there was this dock that extended onto the lake. And I was like, how beautiful. Let me walk on this dock and hopefully catch any dragonflies that come by. And then I just tried for like probably 15 minutes, and the dragonflies were too fast for me. I was scared that I was going to fall into the water. That was not a part of my plan. So then I went to like where the canoes were docked, and I tried, instead of catching them in flight, I was like, I'm going to be an ambush predator.
Oh my gosh.
I like hid in one of the like wood columns. And there's just like so many dragonflies above the water, and they're flying around each other, having an amazing day. And occasionally they would sort of rest just by sitting on the edge of the dock. And that's when I would sort of walk very slowly, like with my net above my shoulder. And then I would just thwack. And then that's how I caught my first dragonfly.
So what comes next? What do? You have dragonfly in net.
I have dragonfly in net. I walk to a picnic bench. I have all these little envelopes where you're supposed to put the bug in. My heart is racing.
Yeah.
I recorded a voice memo for you.
Oh, amazing.
Okay, I just caught a dragonfly. Oh my God. It's in the net. It is twitching. It's not happy to be there. Now is the part I'm more scared of, which is that I need to take the dragonfly. Oh my God. Oh my God. I need to take the dragonfly out of the net and put it into an envelope. But it is a very big insect, and I'm scared to touch it. But that is what I have to do. Okay. I'm going to take the envelope out. Oh my God, I don't want to touch it. Oh my God, it's just twitching. I'm so scared. I'm holding it by its wings through the net, and now I'm holding it by its actual wings. And oh my God, okay. Okay, it's in the envelope. It's in the envelope.
Dragonflies have like big bodies.
They really do.
They have big wings and big bodies.
And big old eyes.
Oh.
And it was twitching horribly in the net. Like it was really trying to escape. It was jostling its body against the mesh. It was moving its abdomen, like coiling back and forth, like trying to free itself.
Oh my God.
And I just looked at it, and I was really scared. But I also was like, I think it was helpful. Like, I was just like, I am totally in control. This dragonfly cannot escape my my horrible clutches. And I'm looking at its face, and it has these enormous eyes, and like its body is like this jeweled colored like blue. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of was like, I need to give it a moment, hunter to hunted, where we see each other. And so I watched the dragonfly. I don't really know what it was seeing. And then I opened the envelope, and I put them in the envelope, and then I closed it, and then I put a bottle of sunscreen on top of the envelope to sort of like keep it from moving. And it was still twitching in the envelope, which felt bad.
How do you kill it?
Amazing question. I always knew that I would kill it in the freezer.
Okay.
Because that was what someone told me would be like an easier death. Like you can also just leave it in the envelope, but that felt horrible because I was like, what if I were in an envelope? Just like one of my greatest fears is being buried alive, and that's kind of like the dragonfly equivalent.
Yes. I'm like feeling emotional thinking about you holding this dragonfly and like staring it in the eyes.
I had never before been in a situation where I felt like I had so much power. Like in my day-to-day life, I feel very much often like a bug. Like I'm the little guy, like fighting back against my landlord or like Amazon or whatever.
Yeah.
And in this situation, I was like, this creature would like really live or die by my choice. And there was a part of me that was like, should I just let him go? Like,
how did it feel to have that power?
Really scary. Isn't that like that quote from Animal Farm? Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. I was really just thinking like, I am the apex predator in a way that, right, we are all pretty much apex predators. Like a lot of us eat meat that's been like processed in some horrible factory farm. Like very few people are actually hunting for their own food. And I obviously was not going to eat this dragonfly, but I really felt like it activated some elemental part of me where it's like, I am a hunter.
Yeah.
In my like Asics, like REI sport hat. And I was like, I don't know. And it's obviously, right, like, I've taken lives before. Like, I've killed so many bugs over the course of my life, and I've never given a second thought.
Yeah.
And I think I was also recognizing that irony of, like, in this moment, I'm feeling such guilt, but it's just because I don't find the dragonfly as objectionable a bug as a cockroach, or as, like, you know, a bug that we're told to kill, like a spotted lanternfly. I feel like my mind was swirling with so many feelings of like fear and disgust and guilt, and also just the adrenaline of power and of killing, which is, it's so scary to kill something. Not just about the act of killing in terms of like the process of it, but I feel like it changes you. Like it should make you aware of all this power, and like you would hope that you would wield it responsibly. But yeah, I think it was just scary. Yeah.
It actually reminds me of the one time I shot a gun in my life.
Oh my God.
My in-laws are shotgun people who like they don't hunt, but they like go to a range and like shoot things that like get thrown up into the air, and then you shoot them. And several years ago, I went with them and tried once, and I remember just the absolute power that I felt shooting a gun, and the way that it sort of like made my entire body buzz. And like the recoil of the gun was like really, it was a lot. It like really pushed back onto me. And I was immediately like, take this away. I don't want this. But I think that's like a really fascinating moment to like look really closely at, of like a moment where you recognize that you have power and then being uncomfortable with it.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's like the One Ring. Like, I feel like when you taste power, like obviously so many people, it just makes them lose their sense of morality, like lose any ethics. Like, I think I was like, I don't trust myself enough to sit with this power and like have any more of it. Like, I think there was a part of me where I was like, maybe I should collect like 100 dragonflies. Like, this was such a thrill. Like, but right, I don't need 100 dragonflies. Like, I don't want to pin 100 dragonflies. I don't have space in my New York City apartment for 100 dragonflies. So yeah, I think, this moment of sitting with like, right, these sort of disgusting parts of yourself that never really reach to the surface, but they're always kind of there. That was really scary.
Yeah. And I think it's really important to like look directly at these parts of you that are powerful and be like, this exists, this potential for destruction exists within me. And like acting it out in this small way, you know, like shooting a gun at nothing or killing a dragonfly is like a really small way of proving to yourself that that's inside of you. And that's, it's terrifying. But I think it's also really important to know that that's there.
Yeah, to remind yourself.
Yeah. Okay, so Dragonfly Friend is in envelope. And then do you just walk straight back and put him in the freezer?
No, I said I'm going to continue hunting.
Okay. Oh my God.
Yes.
All right.
I didn't really know how long the sun would be out, and I was like, I'm gonna get an even bigger one next time.
Oh my gosh, you got the bug.
I really got the bug.
The bug hunting bug.
I really did. I think. I think there was still fear present, but I was like, overall, I'm kind of on a rush, and I want to keep that rush going.
Oh my God. I did not expect this.
Which is like also, again, I feel like goes back to this power of like, I love the thrill.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like I have claw machine brain where it's like I'm addicted to picking things up with the claw.
Yeah.
And I feel like that center of my brain was being activated where it's like, catch more! Like, and I just was like, okay, I need to really rein myself in. And that's when I picked up my little envelopes and I put them in a bowl, and I put that bowl in the freezer.
How did that feel?
It felt bad, but my adrenaline was just so high that I think I didn't even really have space for like that much more emotional complexity in that moment. And it almost felt like a relief to be in this space where it's like, and now I don't have to look at them anymore, which I think also came with some guilt.
Yeah.
Because it's so much easier to kill something by like putting it in the freezer and then being like, well, I can leave. I don't have to watch it die. And yeah, so then I closed the freezer door and then I went to a printmaking workshop. And everyone was like, let's make a print. And I was like, no, I have killed 5 bugs today.
No. How long does it take them to die? Do you know?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay.
I didn't check on them until the next morning. But I imagine it's like, it couldn't be more than like half an hour.
So when did you pin your little dragonfly guys?
So I came back to the city and I asked my friend Lohi, who studies mantises at the Natural Museum of History, and asked if he would give me a pinning lesson.
Okay.
Because he is an expert pinner. Lohit and I met up at the museum and he brought all of his pinning supplies and I brought my dragonflies. And that's when I learned that I actually didn't understand pinning at all.
Oh.
We're like, have you seen like a pinned collection at a museum or something of bugs?
Yeah, I feel like I have seen it. I have like an image in my mind of, bugs, like beautiful couple pins out on a thing.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah, like butterflies spread out. They're in a tray somewhere. Crucially, if you look at a pinned collection, right, there's like 1 pin, maybe 2 pins. And so I was kind of like, why do I need really like a lesson? Like you just stick a pin through it. And that was me being stupid and not actually like researching pinning at all, because I didn't realize that the animals that you see in a pinned collection have all been prepared and posed that way. And then the final pin that they stick through is sort of like preserving its, it's just like to mount it. But, right, bugs die in all different poses.
Uh-huh.
And the dragonflies that I had collected, right, their wings were like all clasped up at the top. And to pin them, you would want to unfold them. And so pinning is actually like really about manipulating the dead body of a bug into whatever stance you want, which is, I guess, is kind of like taxidermy.
Yeah.
But so I brought my dragonflies, but they were actually, I didn't realize that, and this was kind of gory, you need to rehydrate the body of a bug before you pin it, or else it's very stiff.
What does rehydrating mean?
If you pinned it immediately after killing it, like I think it would still be flexible, but after it sits out, it becomes dry, I think. I don't know if bugs experience rigor mortis, but they're just very stiff. And if you try to like mold the body, you could snap the wings, you could snap off an arm or a leg. And so Lohit tried to sort of fast track rehydration of my dragonflies, but it didn't work. But luckily he had brought some rehydrated mantises and butterflies from his personal collection, which just had been living in his freezer for a while. And so we pinned those bugs instead.
Okay. So what did you pin?
I pinned a swallowtail butterfly and an orchid mantis.
Is that the one that you have with you right now?
Yes, I have 2 mantises. One is, I think it's called a spiny flower mantis,
Whoa.
which Lohit pinned, and then an orchid mantis, which I pinned.
Oh, it's really pretty.
It really is. It has these beautiful eye spots.
So how do you feel having these pinned bugs in your home now? Like you've done the thing.
I think I thought that the collecting would be my favorite part of this experience. Like, I had a lot of fear around it, but it also just seemed fun to go out and catch bugs in the field. But of course, then you get into the problems of just being outdoors, of like being attacked by flies, like checking for ticks every like 5 minutes. And I didn't realize that I would love pinning so much. Like I feel like as a child who loved tiny crafts, like this was just another tiny craft. And it really is such a honor to attend to a dead body in such like a way that's full of care. I feel like most dead bugs that I've held in some capacity, right? It's like they were going into the trash or I was stomping them again to make sure that they were dead. But these bugs, like, it was just so magical almost, like, to see how their arms moved, like, to pull it and see, like, oh, this is where their joint is. Like, this is the full range of motion. And to pin something, you have to get really, really close up to it. And there were all of these little details of, like, these little spines on the side of its, like, claw, or these, like, leaf-like veins in its wings. And I think I was really struck by the beauty, more so than I was with any kind of fear.
Do you feel any more clarity about the ethics of this and, like, where you're standing on it?
I asked Lohit this because he is very wise and obviously thinks about this a lot more than I do. But he was basically like, if you're collecting something that's not an endangered or threatened species, if you collect a common species like a swallowtail, like, you're not really endangering the population. You're not threatening the population. And many insects, like butterflies, you're really collecting them at the end of their lives. Like, they've lived their full life cycle. So I think I still feel a lot of that guilt, but I feel confident in knowing that, like, I am not harming this species, like, in the big picture by collecting them. Although, of course, it still is, right, taking an individual life, which I think it's good. I think if I didn't feel guilt around that, I think I would be worried about myself.
Ever since I had this conversation with Sabrina, I have been paying closer attention to the bugs in my life and trying to disrupt that moment of disgust with just, like, one small second of, like, oh, I wonder what your face looks like. I'm not handling the bugs yet. I'm not, like, touching them, but I do feel a little bit more in coexistence with them, which I think is the first baby step to all of this. If you want to see photos of the bugs that Sabrina pinned, you can check them out on my Instagram at Alex Laughs. Try Hard is written, hosted, and produced by me, Alex Sujong Laughlin. Editorial support from Tom Lay, Brandy Jensen, Audrey Mardavich, and Jae Towle Vieira. Justin Ellis is Defector's projects editor. Art by Lille Allen. Our theme song is Photo Booth by Avery Friedman. Mixing by Samantha Gattsek. Jasper Wang and Sean Kuhn are Defector's business guys. Thank you to the rest of the Defector staff. Defector Media is a collectively owned, subscriber-based media company, and Try Hard is a proud member of Radiotopia. I'm Alex Sujong Laughlin, and until next time, don't be afraid to be seen trying.